Oh, I just made it with that one. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Okay, everybody ready?
Ready.
Gosh, I've got all California people on.
Woo woo.
Woo woo. Okay. All right, Fidesz, you have to go. Always beauty before age with you and Carl. You always get first dibs.
Okay.
Although Carl is beautiful in his own special way. All right, here we go. Ready? John, edit here. Hello and welcome to Techlandia. How are you doing today? I am O. John Samuelson up in Oregon. The O stands for Oregon. If you break it down, it says O.J. on Samuelson. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but we'll continue. Let's kick it down to our first co-hostess with the mostess, who is now going to partake in some sound effects, I'm hoping, this podcast. The lovely, the talented, the one, the only...
Amy Fadege. Great to see you guys. I'm an elementary principal.
That's
All
it?
right.
Just an elementary? I cut you off with the sound effect. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Just move on. Keep
I
going.
broke your momentum. I'm totally sorry.
Oh, it's good.
All right. You know what, Fidesz? We should do something different. We should go, after I kick it to you, you should kick it to Carl. We should plan these things out before.
From the South Bay, we have...
I'm not from the South Bay, dude.
How's it mean, Carl?
I knew that, and I'm not from any day.
Dude, south of San Francisco.
Amy, you forgot to mention you were formerly California's youngest principal.
I was formerly California's youngest principal.
Who's the
and
youngest
now I'm so old that one of my teachers asked me if I know what Snapchat is today. So
She's dated.
all right, not the South Bay, but further south
Actually,
than me.
I got to talk to our dean of students and our lead administrator today about Snapchat and should we allow a Snapchat filter for my high school, a geotag location-based Snapchat filter. I made a recommendation. Anyway, my name's Carl Striker. I teach world history in San Mateo, which is about halfway between San Francisco and San Jose.
San Jose is in the South Bay, in case you're wondering.
It is.
All right, and we have two guests on tonight. The California duo. Can we dub you guys the California dynamic duo? Maybe, I don't know. We might have to.
100%. I like it.
All right, that's good. All right, so go ahead and kick it off first. Ashley, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Ashley Williams. Most people know me in the EdTech world as Cash, because I'm so cash money. And I am a teacher on special assignment up in the North Bay in Petaluma.
Very good. All right. See, don't you like that, Amy, how we can keep kicking it over? And we also have John, where are you in California? I don't even know where everybody is anymore. I don't know the North Bay and the South Bay. I just know, like, California is in Oregon, so that's my geography.
I'm in Southern California. My name is John Stevens. In the Upland, Ontario area. So most people just outside of Los Angeles or San Bernardino area is good enough for them. I'm also a TOSA. I'm a technology coach for Chaffee Joint Union High School District.
Very good. All right.
John, just to clarify, even though Oregon and California are separate places, Oregon is on California time, just in case you get confused.
That's right. In case I ever get confused, I just go right to the California time zone.
Did you really change your Twitter handle again?
Yeah, just for this podcast, it's O. John Samuelson, just like CAshley Williams, O. John Samuelson.
Okay,
I love
right,
it.
Right. I like
California
it.
Ashley Williams and Oregon John Samuelson.
That's right. Did you hear that we have a nice Voxer group of the new Techlandia people, and Kurt Rees is privy to this. Allison Anderson wants nothing to do with it, but once he just sits there kind of silently, and then we mentioned that CAshley was coming on, and Kurt Rees is like, "Oh, CAshley's coming on? I'll have to watch this tonight." Like,
I'll have to leave my school board meeting early to come watch.
I'm going to have to make some plans and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Kurt Rees.
You're kind of a big deal, Cash.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big deal. We took Kurt on some very questionable streets in San Francisco, so we had quite a time there.
We did have a bonding experience.
Yes.
But you know what, Carl? Nobody has had as much of a bonding experience as my time in San Francisco, correct? My time takes the cake, right?
Yeah, I'm not with Kurt. We did not get to live tweet an ER visit.
That's right.
In addition, the only thing that could have put the Kurt over the Kurt experience over the top was had we had Mr. Macnology, like we had for you in the ER.
That was great when we had Mr. McNology. He thought I was kidding about the live tweeting my ER trip, but I wasn't kidding.
Yeah, that was the thing.
I'll storify anything. All right, so on Techlandia, we like to talk just about stuff that anybody wants to talk to. Between the two of you now, who would like to kick it off with the topic? And I believe the topic is near and dear to my heart, teaching on special assignment. What does it mean, and how can I avoid everybody from hating my guts because I don't have to do conferences? Is that the top? All right, so John, why don't you go ahead and kick it off? John, you did put some stuff in the doc, right, that we're not going to use tonight?
Right, I don't even know what doc you're talking about.
Okay, all right, that's good. So we're going to go ahead. But why don't you go ahead and kick it off and just talk about what's been happening for you this year?
Well, it's been quite a few different things. We've been playing kind of liaison between the IT department and teachers, and trying to find a way to make teachers feel like they are supported. I know that coming from my perspective as a classroom teacher, a lot of times I felt like there was a huge disconnect between them and us, the district, the suits, and the teachers. And it's been really fun this year kind of playing that liaison and being able to go into teachers' classrooms and say, okay, look, this is why the district is doing things, and trying to bring rationale, and also finding ways to support teachers in their endeavors. It's been fun having a teacher come in and say, hey, I want to be able to record what my kids are doing. Like, okay, let's figure out a way to do that. Or finding a way to assess their students a lot quicker, and being able to research and then come back to them with tools. Because as teachers, we didn't have a whole lot of time to just go out and research that stuff. So it's nice to be able to be that person and support them.
So what are some of the things that you did? Like, I know, so it sounds like we all, the both of you and myself, might be in the exact same position. So like, what does a normal day look like for you in your school district? Like, can you run us down through like I mean, I know there's no normal days, but just like in a day when you don't have a ton of meetings, what does it look like for you?
David doesn't have a ton of meetings. Well, tomorrow is an anomaly. I actually get to go in and play second fiddle with a math teacher the entire day. He's getting ready to roll out Chromebook carts. Our district's rolled out 320 Chromebooks for each school, and so my job is just going to be, he's comfortable with the math, I'm comfortable with supporting him. So he was just really scared about using Chromebooks in his classroom, and I'm fortunate enough to be in a position to where I can spend the whole day with him and just helping the kids get on, helping him feel comfortable about it, and hopefully embracing it a little bit more.
John, how often do you get to do that? And Ashley, feel free to chime on this as well. How often do you get to spend a day like that where a teacher's able to say, I have this grand vision, or I'm starting this big thing and I want you there the whole day? Is that really, really rare, or just kind of rare, or does it happen actually occasionally often?
Well, to be fair, it's been tough lately because each of our teachers are getting a new projector, a new screen, and a microphone with a audio projection system as well. So part of our job has been convincing teachers why this was a good idea, and district-wide how to implement them, how to turn on the projector, how to set up the aspect ratio. Like, a lot of it's kind of like nuancy types of things. But before these rollouts and then after, I would be getting, I would say, legitimately one a week, if not one every other week, teacher coming in and saying, okay, I've got a vision, help me make it happen.
That's pretty cool.
John's going to say, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ash.
I was going to say that, like, the possibility is there. Like, I could do full days, once a week, but there's not as much demand in my area. So I have been doing, like, once a week with this teacher at Amy's school, like, helping out in the computer lab, helping her, walk her kids through Drive and that kind of stuff that she didn't feel comfortable on her own. And so it was like the same thing, but just like an hour a week for a couple of weeks. So I don't see many teachers that want to do like full day, but it might be different, like secondary, because you are switching your classes and stuff.
Do you think that's a different? John, where are they getting the money for their initiative to do to buy all this new equipment?
We actually just passed a bond, Measure P, in our area to raise the property taxes. Yeah. Over a 20-year period of time, I believe the district is getting $848 million.
Wow.
Whoa! And how much of that is supposed to be directed to technology upgrade?
I'm not sure. It's a system-wide upgrade. We're doing athletic facilities. We're getting a new building for 2 of the schools, renovating other ones. I mean, we're in a district that has 8 high schools that date back as far as 1905, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Some equity issues. Some schools have a football field. Other schools don't have a football field, and they're traveling to practice and play all their games. But there is quite a bit of money that was earmarked for a technology upgrade throughout the district.
That sounds interesting. It sounds a lot like what we're doing here because we passed a bond as well. Ashley and Petaluma, what are they doing for you? Are you trying to roll out anything new? Or are you
Yeah,
just
so we're
working more
actually
with
in
teachers?
like the same exact situation where we just passed a bond last year. We're rolling out a classroom package for each classroom. Each teacher got a MacBook Pro. They're getting some kind of projection system, whether that's a projector or an Apple TV with a TV screen. We're still kind of like trying to figure that out. So there's all that kind of little teachery things, and then we're also going 1-to-1 next year. We're looking at iPads for a lot of the grades and possibly Chromebooks in the upper grades. Haven't figured that out yet. So like John said, I'm doing a ton of like the nuancy things. Like this is how you turn on your MacBook. This is how you project from it. Getting the smartboard software. That's kind of the daily thing. And then, we do have a lot of forward-thinking teachers that are doing a lot of tech integration already and utilizing the carts they have. And then so next year they're just kind of getting ready to go 1-to-1 completely, looking at tools like Google Classroom and that kind of stuff that they just want some help exploring with. So that's been pretty fun.
Do you guys think, are you surprised at the number of teachers that are or are not reaching out? Like, what's the system for, like, if a teacher wants help? I know, like, John, I'm curious what your system's much larger than Petaluma. But, like, how does a teacher reach out and ask you guys for help? And have you been surprised on, oh, yay, people are taking me up on it? Or where are they and why aren't they asking for my help?
Go ahead, John. You can answer that one.
Okay, I'll do a quick screen share. So they can email us. What we tried to do right from the onset was try to make ourselves visible and available. We created a Twitter handle. We created an email address. We started sending out tech tidbits that were every other week or every so often. Hey, here's one cool thing that you can try out in your classroom. And what that really was a way for people to remember, oh crap, I need to email the tech guys and ask them to come to my classroom. It had nothing to do with the tech tidbit, but it was, hey, by the way, I downloaded Chrome. What do I do next? But what they can do is we built a website that I'll just show you this here. So built a website, and then on the site there's a Google form. They request us, and what it does is they fill in their information, the date, the time they want us to start and end, and a little bit about what it's about. And from that form, they hit submit. It automatically loads onto our calendar using Formule, and it'll automatically send them back an email and CC us. So that way they have confirmation, we have confirmation, and we can continue that conversation if we have to. But I think that it helps because it's like them staking their claim on our calendar, and they get to see that update.
Is Formule tricky enough to know if you already have something booked at that time?
There is. Okay, we don't have our calendar on there right now, but aside from right now with this microphone and projector and all that kind of stuff, we find ways to make it work. There's 2 of us in the office right now, so we find out ways to make it happen.
So how many of those requests are you getting a week, John?
I think since the start of the school year we've had 130 requests.
Okay.
So, we're getting 2 or 3 a week.
How large is your school district?
25,000 students, 1,100 teachers.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would think those would be flying in right and left. I don't know, that's something that Ashley and I have talked about. I think that like when she's on my campus, and so we have 7 elementaries and 2 high schools and 2 junior highs and then some other alternative campuses. When she's on my campus, it's like people are grabbing her like, oh, I have this question on my phone, I have this, I have that. And so it's like I can see it in the teachers' faces. Like, oh yeah, I forgot this person is here. And we, I don't know, you guys are such a valuable resource.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we've been kind of like trying to figure out is that when I host multiple trainings at the district office, probably twice a week, and people just don't come. Like one person, maybe 0 people. So we're going to try and start playing with, like, instead of having my office hours at the district office, try and have them at the sites, just to, like you said, give people that, like, friendly reminder, like, I'm here to support you. Like, there's PD available all week, every week. So,
One
trying
thing
to get people motivated.
Sorry, one thing that we had started doing because we were getting something similar, Ashley, is we just said, hey, Montclair High School, for example, we're going to hang out in your cafeteria, your staff cafeteria, all day. You need anything, come by. And that way when people come in for lunch, be like, hey, since you're here, the tech guys, help me with this.
Right.
That's interesting. So I'm sorry, Carl, I didn't mean to cut you off. So and just really quick.
If you didn't mean to cut me off, then why did you cut me off?
I think he meant to cut you off.
You know what, Carl? I don't have anything important to say. Go ahead right now.
So here's the deal. I want to get to a question that Kurt Reese posed that actually piggybacked very nicely onto what John said. First of all, Kurt asked a question about the O. John Samuelson. Kurt, that stands for Oregon John Samuelson, just like C. Ashley Williams stands for California Ashley Williams. But Kurt wanted to know if you feel like, because John, you talked about doing tech help and being the tech guys. So John or Ashley, do you guys feel like you're spending too much time on device and tech management rather than getting a chance to focus and really dig in on instruction? And how do you try to kind of, and I don't want to presume that that's the answer, but I'm guessing that you want to focus on changing instructional practices, not just, integrating technology. So how do you try to push? Do you find that balance to be off, and how do you try to shift conversation towards shifting instructional practices?
Ashley, you want to take that first?
So the way I've been kind of looking at it is like we've got to start somewhere. If a teacher's not going to be able to use their MacBook, then it's just going to sit in the corner, and I'm not sure if we'll, ever get to the instructional practices, but I mean, I question that all the time. So, like, when is it going to stop being about turning your projector on, and, how is it going to change? And, part of me, like, we're going one-to-one, like, things are obviously going to have to change in some way, and I don't know if, like, throwing people into it is going to help them, but it's probably going to give a little push that I'm not sure any other big changes like that could.
That's interesting. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah, for me, it's tough, Carl, because people are asking us. We have an iPad for every teacher that wants one, and we got these projectors and all this technology. So they ask us technology-based questions, and I see it more as a fun challenge to find a way to twist the request. Like, their request is, how to use my iPad, and what it ends up becoming is how to be a more effective teacher now that you have an iPad. How to get up and how to use that to hand it over to a kid and be able to have that conversation while you're doing something else, and not focus on, today we're going to talk about Doceri. Well, no, today we're going to talk about how this piece of equipment is going to change the way that you teach.
That's
well, and I'm just going to be really honest with you guys too. I told Ashley that I might call her out for this today, but I had a marketing meeting at our district today where we're talking about vision and, like, what story do we want to tell as our district, and I'm so proud of our district for so many things that we're doing. And then I walk out of my meeting and Ashley is, like, buried in about 50 boxes of Chromebooks that she's putting mail packing tape on and mailing back to whoever, like whatever horrible company sent us a bunch of crappy Chromebooks that have been broken by 8th graders. And she's sitting there like putting packing tape on this. And trust me, I'm not, like, I'm the principal who will be mopping up puke in my hallway and like taking out the trash with my janitor. So it's not at all about this job is beneath you. But when I think about what she could be doing on campuses with students and the influence she could be having with teachers, it really frustrates me that she's doing that. And it's, you know, and if there was this big desire for all these, you know, teachers and students to be working with her, I don't think she would be doing that. Someone else would. But you know, and it's nice to have that kind of work every now and then. But I just was like, oh.
So Amy, one of the things that we've kind of been witnessing is we're not going to be busy until there's more of us. We have two people for 1,100 teachers, and a lot of teachers feel like, oh, you guys are so busy, I don't want to waste your time, or
I get
you
that
don't
all
have
the time
for me. Whereas if there was more of us,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be more accessible, we would be more accessed. I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm.
what you feel like from your teachers, your staff. Do you think that would be the case?
I do hear that all the time, like, oh, you're so busy, I hate to take your time. I'm like, I don't know what gave you that impression. Like, whenever you email me. So.
That's funny.
Just boxing up Chromebooks here.
Yeah. We are looking to get a couple more TOSAs on board, hopefully soon, so we can have, you know, more support at different grade levels, you know, getting a teacher with secondary experience, for example, that, you know, hopefully they can be more present at sites and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So without changing the tenor of the conversation too much, I've got another question for you. If John, do you want to jump in with what you had to say before, or are you okay with me?
No, I saw you. I'm getting the flow with you, Carl. I saw you unmute, so I took a step back.
So I know, John and Ashley, that both of you really treasured the relationships that you had with students, and I'm sure I've heard stories from both of you about going back into schools and seeing former students and how that's something you really value. I imagine that was the hardest thing about leaving the classroom, was not getting to, you know, John, for you, over 100 kids every day, Ashley, for you on an elementary level, fewer kids per day, but those relationships, you don't get to know as many kids. What have been some of the biggest bonuses of becoming a TOSA? What have been the things that you've loved, either that you knew you would love or that have kind of surprised you but have been really positive?
No report cards.
That is pretty awesome.
No, okay, so yeah, there's a lot of benefits. I do miss the students a lot. I miss, you know, my relationships with them, and just like the time that you spend with those children, they become like your family, especially in elementary, you know, when you're with them all day. So yeah, that's tough. There are a lot of, you know, little things that are big bonuses. Like, I feel like when I'm helping a teacher, it's going out and helping even more and more kids. And the teachers are, you know, they're learners just like the students were. So it's kind of fun to open their eyes and see the excitement when they're learning something new and feeling more comfortable with tech. And then there's lots of just like little things that are nice, like no report cards. You know, when I leave work at the end of the day, I leave work. You know, I'm not going home thinking about my 25 little kiddos and all their different situations and, you know, all their parent emails and conferences and that kind of stuff. So, you know, we lose a lot of that, and which is pretty, you know, nice weight off the back.
Good, John. What do you think?
I'll agree with everything that Ashley said, and without being redundant, I miss being the coach, the counselor, the brother, the father figure, the whatever I needed to be in order to make that difference. And as dumb as that sounds, not dumb, but as petty as that sounds, I really do. I miss that. I miss trying to figure out which John I need to be, which Mr. Stevens I need to be in order to have that effect on kids. But it wears on you. My wife was stressed because I was coming home so stressed. And even at the school that I was just at, where I absolutely loved my job, I loved my department, I loved my administrators, and I loved my students, it was tough. It was tough coming home, and we had We had in our school we had 3 kids who committed suicide. I had 2 of my students who contemplated or attempted. Multiple others, just the issues. Like Carl, you teach at a high school, like you know all the issues that are going on campuses, and it's like you want to be able to fix things, and that's hard not being able to fix things, and that was tough. But I guess the big bonus for me is as a teacher, I always wanted to see the other cool stuff that other teachers are doing, and I get to see that now. I get to go into other teachers' classrooms, and I get to see what really good instruction looks like. And when I do go back into the classroom, I've got a lot more tools, a lot more ways, and a lot more strategies that I can now use because I'm getting this experience. And I really firmly believe that more people need to get a chance to get out of their classroom and see other people teach.
Think about going back to the classroom. I feel like I could be such a better classroom teacher now that I've had like time to sit and like reflect about my practices and reflect about, you know, what cool tools and like you said, what I'm seeing. So, you know.
That's how I feel about being a principal. I like some of the things that drive me the most crazy, like homework packets and sticking a kid on a bench for, you know, half a recess because he didn't do X, Y, or Z. I'm like, I did these things like 3 and 4 years ago. And just from like stepping back, I mean, I think that I'm the type of people that you both are and tons of educators that we all know. It's like you pour your heart and soul into what you're doing at that time. And you come to a place where you do get just emotionally drained and tapped out and exhausted there. And I think that I kind of hear that, I mean, I know that that's kind of where we all were at that place. And being a principal, I pour myself out in other ways now, but I definitely think, oh my gosh, I think I really would be that, like, a pretty bomb teacher now. I mean, I know I had a lot of fun and love getting those cards still saying, you were my favorite teacher, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be a whole lot better now.
I would love to see that blog post from each of you, and John, from you as well, because you've gone from into the classroom, out of the classroom. That's not like a closeted shot at various people who might be tech coaches in Petaluma who sometimes log and sometimes don't.
Mostly don't.
But for me at least, I only have that perspective of a classroom teacher. I would love to hear more, and obviously, you know, we could talk about it for another hour and a half, but I'd love to hear kind of how those buckets have changed, and how that impacts you. But that seems like a far larger conversation.
Maybe we'll just shock you with a triangle post, Carl. Watch out.
That would actually be awesome.
I'm interested in this triangle post.
All right.
You know, I was just thinking, we weren't all of us in this hangout? Weren't we at the Q Party Villa? Were we all there at the Q Party Villa? For the big Bill Selleck beer cast? Were we all there?
We were.
We were.
Yeah. We were.
Yeah, that was a fun time. I'd like to thank Kurt Rees for being our one viewer. I'll have to do a better job of promoting it next time. Holy cow. All right, so I guess I have a serious question. You know, and the thing for me is, I really will. This might be the first podcast where I actually tell my 4 other coworkers, my 4 other TOSAs that are with me, we call ourselves, okay, ready for this? We could pick it, John and Ashley, innovation strategists. But so that's what we call ourselves. But it sounds like we're facing the exact same things. We should build a little support group. And this might actually be the first podcast where I tell those guys to actually watch and listen to your guys so that they can see that it's a shared experience, not only in SoCal and NoCal, but it's also in Oregon, because that's the same thing. So we go through, we try and get trainings, we try to get people there, and it's tough. Now, what we're doing with our bond is we're actually, and I just came from a session where we're trying to help our teachers write grants that tie to learning goals. So then we're trying to get them the technology they need to fit like their learning goal and their big changes that they're going to make. So I guess my question that I cut off Carl with to Ashley was, how are you? So you have the one-to-one getting ready to go. How do you know, and who's in on the conversation for what to get? Because I think if you just do that one-size-fits-all, I've been in that situation where it's all or nothing. I don't think that works. I think you need the combination of things, and we're actually considering combination here, this, there, and then BYOD as well, and then our technology kind of fills in the gaps. So I was wondering if you're doing this next year, Ashley, I wondered what conversations were going on in your district. You have to do them quick.
Yeah. So we're kind of like right in the middle of that right now. So I think a lot of our principals would be talking to their schools pretty frequently during, staff meetings, that kind of stuff, bringing it up, talking about what they might want. And then we do have an ed tech committee that meets, a couple times a year, and we kind of brought it to them, and we kind of brainstormed the pros and cons of each device. And we did a lot of work with what do you want learning to look like for our students. So we try to start from that standpoint and then kind of work backwards as to what device will help us meet those learning goals.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I love the leading with what is learning and what should learning look like, and letting that determine what you need, as opposed to iPads are shiny and nice and they have cultural cachet, so let's get them. Sorry. Anyway, that's awesome. Continue.
Yeah. No.
That's just we're gonna call that a Carl rant real quick there. That's fun. No, that's awesome. And and Carl knows, because he listens to me, how much of a pain in the butt the iPads are to make. I could roll out a million Chromebooks and get 100 iPads out in the same amount of time. It's not that bad, but it's ridiculous.
Right.
And And I think what teachers find is they need a balance. You need the little balance. You need to do, sometimes.
That's the thing. Everyone was like, okay, well, if we're going iPads, can we still have a couple Chromebooks around? We're like, yeah, for sure. And so I think everyone's going to want a mixed environment, but just kind of deciding on what to go with for the one-to-one. I mean, we'll always fill in with other stuff, so. And we came into it with a lot of assumptions, secondary school, you need Chromebooks because you need to be typing. And that's kind of what inspired our conversation of, let's start with what we want learning to look like, because we were just assuming, we want these secondary kids sitting there typing. And we're like, oh, wait, maybe we should question that. What do we want them to do?
Yeah, that's interesting. So, John, what is your district? Do they have any other plans besides the upgrading of the projectors and all the the stuff that comes with it? I mean, you said you were doing the Chromebook rollout, right, for the teacher tomorrow?
Yeah, we've got Chromebooks that are going out. And in a district that's so big, it's so hard to get an open perspective from all teachers and feel like everybody's being validated. What we chose to do was shoot, I think about 12 or 15 teachers being brought in and saying, okay, some power users in the district, what is it that you want to feel supported in your classroom? And, is it the big, is it the small, is it the touch screen? And we're talking about Chromebooks. Our big issue with the iPads in the department was the MDM, the device management system. We're having a lot of issues with that, and I say we. I don't know the first thing about the MDM, but apparently it's a big
trust
issue.
me, live in ignorance. I know a lot more than I used to know about it, and trust me, it's crazy out there.
Fun.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. So live it up while you can.
And as much as I love Google, it's been fun to contemplate. Do we go with a Surface or do we go with a small Dell laptop? And being able to have those conversations and not having it being pigeonholed into we're all going to buy the HP 14 Chromebook for everybody. But the last wave of technology that we're going to be doing with this first rollout is finding a way to project iPads up onto the screen. We're having a lot of issues with Cisco, and this is getting into kind of a lot of geek speak, but
well, he's been bad ever since the thong song. I mean, he hasn't done anything since so,
that was solid.
Thank you. I think I'll leave on a high note now. I'm George Costanza.
Drop the mic.
We're contemplating either getting Air Server or, if we have to, getting an Apple TV for everybody to project their iPad, because that's really the big question now, even with teachers who aren't super tech savvy, is I've got this $600 mouse. How do I get my kids to see it?
Right. It's interesting. I know. And then, what we find is Air Server works for some of our situations with the existing technology. And then sometimes it's an Apple TV works better. So we're really going on case-by-case basis for some of these things. And, yeah, you just kind of have to see what works, and then you're like, see what the teacher's comfortable with. So I never think there's not that one-size-fits-all. I think that everybody, that was my old school district, we're going to outfit everybody with an iPad, K through 12, and that's going to work. I'm not sure it does. In fact, I don't think it does. So it's interesting. There's big conversations. Fidej, do you have any input on that with what the district? Do you have? Are you on the Tech Vision committee? I picture you as being on there.
No,
she was on our Apple Vision team.
Yeah, I'm on the Vision team. I try to be on campus as much as possible, and so I kind of bow out of some of the committee meetings when I can, and I have a really solid rep on there. So we've had lots of those conversations, and I think that we're now at the point where I feel like we're kind of over talking it, and I'm just ready for someone to make a decision. We've had a lot of those good conversations about what do we want learning to look like, and I think that we'll be able to shape that once we get the devices as well. I do think, Ashley and I went with my ed tech committee rep to a school where they have primarily iPads because we have more Chromebooks on our campus. And so we went and just asked kids, like, if you had the choice. That was like one of the best days I've had this school year. We just hung out with kids and asked them, what do you like about this? What do you like about, the other one? And that was so awesome.
These kids had iPads in 4th and 5th and Chromebooks in 6th grade.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Yeah, they were all excited for, the Chromebooks, and that could be a whole another debatable thing. But I just have loved that we've tried to focus it on learning and students along the way. And, just like my I know we're wrapping it up here, so my parting words to just John and Ashley and and you too, John Samuelson, all the, tech TOSAs, and I think that even though it can feel frustrating and why aren't people reaching out and I miss my students and all of that, and yeah, I'm packaging up Chromebooks to send back, there's something really powerful about having a teacher on the other end of some of these decisions and conversations, and instead of having an IT department come slap down devices, or, even just when Ashley's on my campus and she's, adjusting an Apple TV, or she's helping a teacher with this, just having someone that speaks that teacher language and has been in the classroom, I mean, the street cred you get on that, you guys are a really valuable resource. So thanks for all you guys are doing to move us forward.
We'll take that, right? Won't we take that, John and Ashley? We'll take that. I'll take
Absolutely.
that. All right, so my question is, okay, so I think I heard some distressing news before I went on the show. Fidej, Q, are you in or are you out?
Oh, I'm out. I'm super sorry. I know.
Wow, you know what? That gets sad trombone right there. We can't duplicate the party then.
Yeah, I know. It's really sad. And I was just telling a friend before this that not seeing John, I'm lucky enough to get to see Carl and a lot of other people that'll be down there all the time, but not seeing John is definitely at the top of the regret list. So to my Johns, I'm going to miss you boys.
Wow. Ashley, Q, in or out?
In, for sure.
John, you in or out?
In.
John, Ashley, are you presenting?
Yes.
What is your session?
Google Calendar.
Oh, the ever popular Google Calendar. John, what's your session?
I've got one on La Cucina Matematica. It's a math.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I'll be there. Stand up.
It'll be a feast of good math stuff. And then I'm doing the California Ed Chat live with Carl and Joanne Fox, Ryan Archer, Sam Patterson, Jessica Pack. I'm not sure who else is signed in for it, but doing that. And then in the Google Summit the day after, I'm doing a forms session.
Nice. Carl Lingenstreicher, what are you presenting at Q this year?
John, I'm done presenting. I facilitate. No, I'm just kidding.
Look at that. You took the high road on that one.
There was a transformative conversation that I got to have at Q last year that did change that. I am doing the Let's Break Some Freaking Fire Codes, Stop Teaching and Start Learning with Diane Main, which will be a conversation.
Yes, go to that. Everybody go to that.
Yep.
I'm doing the CA Ed Chat one with John, which will be a conversation. And I am excited to be doing a using digital images to leverage learning, creativity, etc., with the one, the only, the truly incomparable Ruben Hoffman. And I got to do that. Yes, Ruben Hoffman. So I'm excited about all of those.
Who you also see in about 3 days, correct?
I know, including you.
That's right, including me. I will be at the Q conference, and I will not be presenting at all because I don't present at conferences anymore. But much to Carl's chagrin, I will be helping facilitate the unconference because that helped me save a little, if you know what I mean. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So Carl, you can be mad at me. I'm sorry. I went in. I had to try to not pay for my registration.
John, why would I be angry at you? Other than for standing me up when I came through PDX last weekend.
That's right, I did stand you up. I'm sorry. I will not stand you up this time, though. Good. There would be no way. In fact, if you would like me to roll a red carpet out to my car and pick you up in my limousine, that's all you.
Just you have a car? Yeah, I might take you up on that.
Okay.
Hey, hold on. Before we go, I got a quick question for John and Ashley.
Okay. Yeah.
What are you guys reading right now, and how is it?
I'm reading Gone Girl at the moment, and it's amazing. I've read the last couple pages, and I can't put it down.
Okay.
Other than that, I just started reading on Carl's recommendation the book Switch. I'm on like the second page still, but it's about making changes and that kind of stuff.
So you switched from page 1 to page 2 pretty quick there. Switch. Hey, you know what? Have you seen Gone Girl the movie?
I haven't. I've been waiting till
because I have a feeling if you go to it, I heard there's a special part of Ben Affleck that makes an appearance in the movie, so you can see that. All right, John, what book are you reading?
Just finished with Show Your Work by Austin Kleon.
Oh, nice.
Some pretty good little snippets in there for what I'm doing. And then going to get a book based on the guy that I work with, Creativity Inc. It was written by one of the people that works in Pixar.
I've seen that one. Those are two Kurt Reeves choices right there, if I've ever heard them, right, Fadej? Fadej took it just to put. I got her right in between a big drink of her hot tea with lemon.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
All right, Fadej, you have to go in though, because you're so good at this. Can you give us your final words?
Oh, final words?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just the charge that you guys are awesome and keep going on. Carl, I know you didn't ask, but I'm reading The Book Whisperer, and I'm really proud of myself because I haven't read a book in a while. And I gave that book to a lot of my teachers at the end of this last school year, so I'm joining in and saying yay for reading and yay for not always reading educational books. We have to have fun, so... I mean, if we were to keep talking for the next 10 minutes, I'd be reading subtitles on The Bachelor because it starts.
Oh, that's right. All right, we got to cut off because of that. Right, you know that the Book Whisperer, that's Fort Worth, Texas's own Donalyn Miller.
Oh, is that where Donalyn Miller's from?
Yes, she is. And I was just talking today with her Nerdy Book Club co-founder Colby Sharp, who we tried to do an episode of Booklandia on Voxer, and he said no. He's like, I really just like live hanging out with you, John. The give and take. I said, thanks, Colby. That's a good compliment coming from you, since he knows like every author known to mankind, and they send him like personal like etchings and number them and all sorts for his new child. So Colby's legit. All right. Well, you know what? Let's go to Carl Lingenschrecker. He looks like he has something to say there. Carl, do you have anything to say right now? Are you going to go watch The Bachelor?
No, I have nothing to say.
Okay, Carl.
Are you ready, Carl?
Carl, that's what we love about you. All right, Carl, I'll see you in 48 hours.
Woohoo!
So, that sound good? PDX
yes.
style. All right, and we'll catch you on the flip side.